Yo, as you guys been requesting for a long time, today I'm finally going to make a tutorial about all the options we have in the tuning shop. This video gonna be a little bit more longer than usual, so stick around if you wanna learn something new, or even if you think you know some, this video still might help you. So yep, let's go. The main important thing is what you want the car for. If you want the car for drift or race or whatever, you make sure you get the best car for that reason. So if you want to do racing, you for sure not gonna buy a S13, which at the max upgrade it's gonna only make you 571 horsepower. Keep that in mind though, this car is so light, it's like 800 kg, but still that power is low if you wanna race, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, without wasting any time, the engine section, all these parts does not really make sense except the turbo one. So if the car does not come with turbo as a stock, if you put a turbo on it, obviously it makes a massive change on the boost. So that can be your first upgrade that you put on any car you make, basically, because it's one of the most effective. But other than that, any of these are pretty unrealistic the way they improve the car. CarX did that just because they didn't want to make the game too complicated. Anyway, all you wanna do when upgrading your car, you need to look at this table on the left, and when you're putting a part on your car, you do not have to go max on anything, you know, like it's just up to you how much power you need. So you put one part, you try the car, you put another part, try the car, you see if you need more power still, you know. And if it's for drifting, 400 horsepower or something like that would be enough for you. Anyway, you need to look at this table on the left, and you see these numbers which turned red right now, and they said target low, target medium, and target high. It basically means how strong your tires will spin with how much force, you know. The low means at the low RPM, the mid means in middle RPM, and the high means at max RPM. And that's basically it. All you need to do to make sure you get the best power out of a car, and the part you are really paying for, it actually works it. You need to go through all these parts and see which ones give you the most torques. For example, this ECU one is one of the main important one. Obviously this and the turbo, these two are really effective. So these two are the first parts you want to put on any car. Also make sure you don't put this and next day you make more money, you put this and you that. No, just have an aim for yourself, save the money and get the one, because when you're changing the part you will lose so much money, which it doesn't worth it. Okay, so let's say from this normal one you get this ultimate one. As you can see, it gives about 20, 30 and 50 at high torque to you. And as you can see, this part actually is really effective as well, but as you can see, this last one does not really worth it. I'm gonna skip that one, same as that one, same as that one. This one's kind of alright. This I would say is one of the effective parts when you have a low power car. And this one again, not really worth it, and not really worth it. So ECU, turbo, this one for sure, and this one. These are the main parts you need to put on any car, okay? And for this upgrade section, basically, you need racing or higher parts to unlock all these options. So you might not have all these options, and that is why you need racing parts. What the racing part is, you see on the top of it, it says Racing Elite Ultimate. These are quite simple. Rev limiter is basically how far your RPM can go without boost, without the NOS. The turbine pressure is basically gives you a massive chunk of extra power, not really much to be fair, but it's quite decent, and it gives you more boost. Basically peak RPM is the max, you know, when you're hitting that NOS you are like drifting as well, you know, it's the max your RPM can go. And again, these are the torque at medium and high, and these are the 3 torque settings which are really recommended to put. You often see people put this torque at high at low to make their drift look smoother, and it does actually kind of helps, because your car usually makes the most power where you are hitting the max RPM, and when you're lowering that, it makes the car more smoother. So if you want to drift your car, you can just keep this torque at high at low. A lot of people do that, but on this specific car I would prefer it to be max, because it's still not really making much So that's from the engine section. I also have to mention, do not upgrade to any of these engines, because once you do that, first of all, you lose any of these parts that you already bought, and these does not worth it. These are just not good. The only good one is this last LS one, and the problem with that is this just doesn't really give you really good RPM as well. I would say get none of this. Just when you want to buy a car, choose something that delivers the decent power. You can see the powers in the right side when you're buying some cars in the shop of the game. Here, when you're making a drift car, let's say if you see 5-speed or 6-speed here, you basically don't need to change your transmission whatsoever. It will go to waste. Only if you want to go for race, you make this 6-speed one, and if you want to make stupid top speed ones with like ugly tunes, you know, tires that go through your body kit and stuff like that, people do that. You can go with this 7-speed one, and only go to that if you feel like, oh, you hitting your max RPM and you think your car can do more, but the gear doesn't allow it, and that's a longer story still. But only if you want to make your race car, or you just want to waste your money or something, just go with this T50S. But this is really unnecessarily. For racing, for drags, for everything, this helps. For drifting, there is literally no need to it. 5 or 6 speed is literally enough. You're not gonna even use that 5th gear much. Yeah, the next part is this top left one, and again, if you're making a drift car, you do not need this. But if you're making a race car, every little touch helps. Obviously, you see this durability and stuff like that makes no sense, you know. You're not gonna wear out in this game. You do not really need it. It doesn't really make that much of a change, but it just makes your car to shift faster. You know, when you tap in the gear button, it just goes to the next gear faster. Again, you do not need this car unless you're going for racing, and even with that, you don't really need it. I would say only for drags, literally, not even racing. And here we got the differential. Basically, if you're making a drift car, you can easily go with this red racing one, the viscous one, and you're sorted out. If you wanna just pay more, you can go with this ultimate one, but you need to put a certain settings. If you put the ultimate part and you tap this upgrades, and if you come to this right section, you make sure these two options are at high. That makes it good for drift still. I would say if you want a drift car, just go with this. If you want to make a race car, you go with this again. Ultimate obviously is the best, but make sure you're just not with this open one, you know. So we can go with this one of these. These two are basically the same. This just makes you, the ultimate one just allows you to make more changes compared to the elite one when you are in this upgrade tab. Anyway, for drift, you just put that racing one on. The only part that actually affects your performance in this gearbox section is this part, and all it does, it just makes your car to shift better and makes it to lose less power in the shifts, and it does quite much make your car faster. This is the funniest part because it's been added to the game for so long and a lot of new players still don't know about it. All it does, it makes your car from rear wheel drive to all wheel drive, or if it's a front wheel drive, you can make it rear and all wheel drive. What that means basically is, let's say you are on a rear wheel drive car, and as you can see, we can basically do burnouts and all that, and you can see it's only our rear tires that are spinning. If I pause the game and I go here, you can see only our rear tires are spinning and our front ones are basically stood there. Here's another tip I'm gonna give you. You know, the all-wheel drive one, it makes your car way faster and quicker. Not really for top speed, but it makes it quicker for drags. Obviously, if you're making a drag car, 100% all-wheel drive, no question about it. Yeah, if you're making a race car, this all-wheel drive will make your car quick, and only do that if you wanna race in big circuits, you know, something that doesn't have a small turns, cause front wheel and all wheel will understeer. The only one is better is the rear wheel one, but there's a problem with that. It can spin out, so that can be a skill issue for some people. Basically, the front is easier to drive and all wheel drive is like in the middle, and rear is the harder one to drive because you might spin out a lot. It basically depends to your skills, you know. You just have to be careful, just learn the game, you know, play a lot, you get better. The more you play, the more better you get. We go to the upgrade sections. For every car is different, is to just like play around, you know. But basically, if you want a drift car, here's what you're gonna do. First gear 3, second gear 2, third gear around 1.5, anything close to it doesn't matter. Fourth gear 125, fifth gear max, sixth gear at 0.8, and that's it. The reverse gear you want it low. I'll put it low because when you put it on low, it makes your gears longer. So basically, the higher this number is, the shorter your gear is, you know, the faster you need to change gear. Your gears are so short, so you need to lower this if that's the case for you. This final drive one, what this does, it affects all these gears. So basically, it's the ratio that affects all of these first to 6 gears, and even the reverse. So let's say you want to make some reverse drifts, but you see, oh shit, my reverse is so short, you know, it only allows me to go to a certain speed and the gear doesn't allow me to go more. All you need to do is just lower your final drive, but don't lower it too much, because if your gears be too long, you might need more power. And yeah, that's how the final drive one works. If you want to tandem with your friends, you can also, all of you, put the same ratio, and for example, let's say everybody put 2.92, and it actually helps you guys to match your speeds way easier. So if everybody go with the same ratios and obviously same tire width and size, maybe it will make your tandems way easier, you know. So that's a little tip I'm giving you as an extra today. If you're making a drift car, transmission loss, don't need it. If you making a drift car, again, if you're not into reverse drifting, you don't even need to change this reverse one, it'd be a waste. And gear shifting speed, if you're making a drift car, just don't touch it, you don't need it. If you're making a race car, obviously you want it the lower the better, you know. Body section, we can now swap bodies and basically make the car way lighter, but it's quite unnecessarily, you know. 800 kg is actually kind of too low. Maybe I don't need to ever have a car so light, especially for drifting. I'm just doing it for the sake of the videos, you know. I just want my car to be the peak, the best. Anyway, that's the swap section. You can make your car lighter, which is really effective. Basically, you don't really need it. Obviously, if it's for drag, you always want it to the highest you can afford. In this section, I see a lot of people go with these lower ones or not going with the last one. If you are grinding in the game, this ultimate gas tank will save you a lot of money in overtime, so you want to make sure you have the ultimate one. That 50 kg not gonna make the massive change unless you're going for massive top speeds, you know, 500 490 kilometers, something like that. And yes, some cars do go like that. For example, the Dodge Challenger and the Lambo actually, and a few other cars do almost 500 kilometers. Anyway, this part is again for save weight, but if you put racing or higher, it actually unlocks this top part for you, which you can make your car even more lighter, and you can change the weight distribution. Basically, if you want a race car, you want to make sure your front is heavier. If you make the rear end heavier, your car will understeer. If you want a drift car, you want it 50-50, or actually even your front a little bit heavier. You never want the back heavier. If I make it simple, you never want the back heavier. As you can see in this little small car in the corner, the 49, it's the weight of the back, 51 is the front. It's the ratio, it's percentage. Never want the back heavier unless you're making a drag car. If you're making a drag car, you always want the back what? You want the back heavier. Simple as that. You see these up and down arrows? It says 20 next to it. It's the center of mass height. It basically means how high to the ground and how low to the ground the center of the weight of the car is, you know. So if you're making a race car, you want it low as possible. Yeah, even a drag car, you want it low as possible. But for a drift car, you want it about 20 or 21. That's the perfect amount, but not all cars can go to this much, but some cars do actually go more than 20. So as you can see, this car actually cannot go over 21. This part is actually for aerodynamics, and it makes your car quiet faster. It's literally so effective, you're not gonna believe it. If you put this air resistant thing on low, if you are like slow and you cannot even catch in drifts, you can actually make your car way faster with this air resistance. And yes, it's basically really effective. If you're making a race car, again, you want this air resistant and low. And also, if your car understeers, you can make this front downforce as well higher, so this makes your car steer easier. But you can see on the right of the screen it says -1 for your max speed. It actually takes off about maybe 20 or 30. It's just like this table, you see anything on it, don't really believe it, it's just bullshit. Yeah, I don't know why CarX have it so inaccurate. Anyway, if you have the front one lower, it makes your car steer better, but it might make it oversteer. So you only need to put it higher if your car understeers, no matter drift, race or whatever. For this case, I'm gonna just keep it at low. Also, here is the back one, and all it does is downforce the whole car. When you have downforce in your car, it actually makes your car understeer. A lot of people don't know that. So if you don't really need downforce, don't add downforce. And again, as you can see, it says -1 for the speed, but it actually takes like about 40 of your speeds in kilometers, or maybe like 30-25 in miles. If you want a drift car, you never need that. But if you think your car spins out so easy, you can add a little bit of downforce at the back. You know, that actually helps it, because as I said, downforce is understeer. Understeer is less spinning out, you know. Like, let's say you're drifting in a corner and you think your car is not really having enough forward momentum, it's not really going to the way it should, and it just like slips out. So if I want to make an example, let's say this turn is turning left and we want to turn, but our car is just like so slippery, you know, we cannot make it to where we want, and a little bit of downforce can actually help. But in this case, I do not need it. I'm just gonna remove the part. I have to also mention that even if you put the ultimate one and you don't really change these, it still adds a lot of downforce, you know, just by having the part. It's not you only have to touch this, you know. So yeah, that's about that. And about the suspension section, which is the most important thing in a car. Okay, here it is, the suspension section. What this first part does, it allows you to steer more. It allows you to put more camber, put more accurement, put more steering angle and all that, and wheel toe even. This is for the front, this is for the back. Obviously you don't really need the ultimate one. I do think so the elite one kinda does it, but I just go with the ultimate one for the sake of the video. And this is the section it actually unlocks for you. So camber, caster angle, accurement, steering angle and wheel toe. Same as for the back. If you want it for the back of your car, it only gives you camber and wheel toe, and this is the part you need for back of your car. Again, a stabilizer is this. It basically what it means is how much your car can do the weight transformation from left to right by sitting on the suspension, you know. This is the part for it for the front, this is the part for it for the back. And again, you need racing or more to have this section unlocked. For front, you can easily go about 30. For the back, you want anything close to 10 or even 0. You don't want it too high. That's it, simple as that. If though you're making a race car, just make it high, because it lets your car to sit on the suspension more and turn better, basically have more grip. Again, the brakes, I would say it always worth it to go with the ultimate one, because even if you have the ultimate brakes, they're not good. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is the options we have for the brake. If you have a drift car, you want it about 11 maybe and 65%, but even if you cannot go to it, it's really not a need, you know. It's really unnecessarily. If it's for a race car or a drag car, you want these two as max. For the drag car, you technically don't need it because you're just about to go fast, like who cares if you can't stop it fast. But for a race car, you want these two for max, so it makes your car to stop better and faster and all that. Here are the springs we have. The ultimate I've got on this car, but even with the racing ones, we can have these two options unlocked. And as you can see, we do not need this ultimate one. Even the racing part can do the same for us. If it's the drift car, what I usually do, I'll go about 60 to 70 on the front, and whatever you have on the front, you go 10, about 10 or something below that for the back. So if front is 70, you make the back 62. Simple as that. For a spring length, you just go as low as it looks good. So it does not matter whatsoever. The only thing with it is, if you have it too low, your car might be shaky in turns, so you don't want it too low. You know, you can just like play around with it, make your fitment like I did. And yeah, that's about the spring front and back. But let's say you want to make a drag car. What you want to do is to lower the back spring and this. I know it's so stupid, it's so ugly, but this is how drag cars get faster in CarX Street, even top speed ones. Yes, CarX, what's up with your game? Fix it, man. And yeah, that's how it goes. And if it's drag again, you want the front high, you want the back low. And I know it's so stupid and everything, but this is how it is. I would never do it. That's one of the reasons I don't like racing and drags in this game, because to make a good car, you need to make it ugly for race and drag. Anyway, that's how it is. For this camber section, again, these damper parts, don't fucking need it. Race, drag, nothing, don't need it. Just don't get these, yeah? Only if you want to make a really top end race car, just get these all ultimates and you just come here on your damper and just like max everything, because the stiffer it is, the better it is for race. Simple. And here it is, the main and most important part for tuning a car. For the drift part, I would say always just go 6.5 to 7 maximum, always in negative obviously, so negative 6.5. On the front side, for the back camber, you go between 2.5 and 3.5. If you think your car is spinning out too much, you add to it, till it feels more secure to drive, less slidey, you know, it doesn't get too much angle. If your car does not get enough angle, you lower this, but do not go below 2.5. Another way to make this on your car is basically you turn this camera, and from the back of your car you look at your rear tire and you try to make it straight with the ground, and you make it in a level that it touches the most with the ground, you know. I would say 3.5 literally works on any drift car. Again, for wheel toe, basically it turns your wheels toward inside. I'm not really sure how to explain it to you guys, it's a little bit complicated, but it gives you forward momentum. Okay, it allows your car to push more forward, but only for drifting. You do not need any wheel toe. If you want a race car, you don't need wheel toe at the back. Okay, if you want your drift car to be more slidey at the back, more loose, you can put negative at the back. Okay, but in drift cars I usually go at 1, when you can go at 0.5 positive. I'll just go with 1. Also, before I forget, if you want to make really long drifts, again, you need to have these at 0 and make sure your wheels are straight to the ground. Okay, and this negative 3.5, it doesn't really work the same in every car. Okay, because when you're making your car lower, it, as you can see, or higher, it change your camber. And that's about that. That's about the camber. The caster angle, not many people know that. You know, when you're drifting left to right and when you tilt your phone, the car just like change the sides so fast, it means you have too much caster angle. Basically 9 does it. If you want your car be snappy, you know, do the transitions fast, you can higher this, but I would say maybe 10.6, the highest you use. And if your car, you want it to be really smooth, you know, it feels like it's on ice or something going left to right, just put it on 7. Again, for a race car, no need it. For a drag car, don't need it, just put it in low. Okay, for my case, I like it at 9, maybe even 9.4, that's fine. Ackerman angle, you do not need too much of this. I don't know why people want too much of this. You need to set this up for every car. I cannot give you any value to put. I cannot give you a value to put for drift, because you need to set this for every car separately. But for racing, I would say 50 is good for racing. and that's it. You do not need more than 50 for racing, simple as that. But for drifting, I want you all to start from 35, 38 and play a little bit. The way I test this, let's say I put it in 25. If I now try to drift my car, as you can see, it doesn't really like to get too much angle, you know, the car feels less loose. Obviously I can still do some 360 with it if I want, but some people can't. It's a little tricky to spin out when you have such a low accuracy. But basically, if you are spinning out too much in every turn, you lower your accuracy, you know, just turn it down 5 by 5 or something like that. But if you cannot do your 360s or all that, or you cannot get enough angle, you just add to your accuracy a little bit, but do it 5 by 5. You don't need 80 or anything. I would say maybe even 50 or something like that. We do it for any car. For this case, 44 for me, it does it, and I don't think I need more. Some people like to go 80 or something, but that's just stupid, you know. It makes your car jerky. Your drift does not look smooth. People don't really like to chase you. You don't want that much of a high. I mean, it depends. It can be a skill issue. To me, I can even go 100 and be the same, you know. Some people just can't. But I would suggest you to find it for every car and set it up. If you want a drag car, again, you lower it. You do not need any of this bullshit. If you want a race car, 25, easy, or for 50 maybe. If you want a towed car, you know, for tow section, mountain races. Steering angle, the higher the better, always. If you're making a car which is oversteering, you can lower these, and if you are understeering, you can higher these, and that's basically it. Wheel toe for the front, again, if you are oversteering, you can lower this. For drift, I just put it a little bit lower in negative section, so my car be easier to control, more smoother with how I'm turning with it. But for a race car, either go 0 or just go 0.2 or a little bit more, depends if your car actually does understeer. For drag car, you just want it at 0. Dampers already explained, brakes already explained, and yes, that's what's from it. For the tire sections, you see these racing one and these stretch ones, they not affect shit. It's just how the car looks. So if you go with the stretch ones, which are more expensive, all it allows you to do is to make a better fitment. So let's say if I go -10 racing, you can see it's coming out of the body kit. So either better to make a fitment. That's it. If you want your car low, just go with these stretch ones. Simple. Again, these are the spacers, so you make your tires go in and out. And if these does not allow you to make your fitment look good, you just go with the ultimate one and you try to play with this slider, so it allows you to go extra, you know. So it doesn't really mean much, but the wider it is, it actually gives you more grip. The wider is basically better for drag, and same for front and back. Just makes the car look good, man. I see so many people skip on that, and your cars just like look ugly, dude. Just like go through this and please do something about it. Anyway, that's from the spacer section. For the rims, if you making a drift car, just go with something that does not look too big on your car, you know. For example, as you can see, these R19s are kind of big. And what I mean by R19, you see this R19, it means the diameter of the rim is 19 each from bottom to down, you know, the circle, how big the circle is. You see, 19 inches that is. 18, again, you go lower and lower and lower and lower. For this car, I do have 20s on, and the reason being is because I have really thin tires on. Yeah. If you wanna make perfect tandems, again, a little tip I can give you: you and your friend can go with the same rim size, and it makes you to be able to match the speed way easier. So R20, 285s front and back. If you are spinning out so much, if you have skill issue, you can make the front one size, two size smaller, but don't go too much. If you go too much smaller one, really thin, it looks like bicycle wheels. It basically understeer, you know. So 285 is the perfect size. If you want a race car, again, you go with really big ones. In the top left, do you see this first number that is going red, 345? It means how wide our tire is. Can you look in the screen? You see how wide it is? That's the first number. You see this 345 next to the rim itself down here as well, and that's basically what it means. This 25 and this let's say we have 30 here, it basically allows you to have more fat tires on, but that's how it is. Again, if you make it a drag car, you want this all max front and back, the wider the better, but you don't really need to go too big. If you go too big, you can lose performance as well. If you're making a race car, you want this the same size as well, but if you don't go with the same size and you go with a smaller size in the front, your car will do what? Your car will understeer. If you go with the bigger on the front, it's no good. And always go same size front and back, or just go front a little bit smaller if your car oversteers. And for the tire pressure, you can actually make your car faster in drifting by lowering your pressure, and actually make it smoother by higher the pressure. And also, if you're making a car that does not have enough power, you just higher your rear pressure, you know, not the front. Don't do the front, you will understeer. It makes your car smoother, faster, smoother, faster, smoother. And for the front section, if your car oversteers, you just higher this. If it's understeer, you lower this. If you're making a drag car, you higher both of these. It makes your car faster and it allows you to reach way higher top speeds. If you make it a race car, I mean, depends what kind of race you're doing. If you're doing a race which have like wide turns, you go with high maybe, but for the front maybe not really max. And if you are doing like a mountain race, you don't want that. And if you're doing a mountain race, you don't want to go that high, you know. You can even keep him like this, or maybe like this for a mountain race. And yes guys, that's literally it. I cannot go in more detail because I think you guys are already confused. So what you can do is to watch this video a few times, I mean if you need it, to learn everything, and it can actually help you to make your car better, you know, and all that stuff. And the tires you do need to put on your car, if you're a drifter, always go street. You do not need anything higher. If you are doing tandem with someone, you can go with Street Plus and catch up with them easier if the tandem lead is not good and it's just going stupidly fast, which is no need. Drifting is not about speed, it's about style, don't forget that. And the whole difference between these is just speed. The higher these, the more speed it gives you, but these two last ones, these two racing ones, they run out faster if you put them on drifting and even racing. So these two last ones are most expensive ones and they run out so fast. If you're racing, I don't think you need more than Sport Plus, but if you're a drag racer, always go with the max, you know. And highway cruiser or something like that, Sport Plus does it. You don't need max grip, you don't need stupid slick tires. Yeah, so yeah guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know if it's helping you out, and let me know what else I should make. I know it's been a long time that you guys been asking for this, but as you can see, this video was so long and it's taking so much time off me. So please hit that subscribe, hit that like button, share this with your friends, you know. And yeah, thank you all for watching. See you next time. Peace.